Now, in the meantime, I wanted to switch total gears and I wanted to touch on this Jeff Goldblum quote. I like Jeff Goldblum. I don't know that he's ever been super political. He did this interview where he was talking about his two kids that he has. I think he has other kids. This is his third wife. And he's got two kids with his third wife. And he says that they should not grow up expecting a windfall. He said he already told him pretty much that, quote, you got to row your own boat, end quote. And he said that he wanted to teach kids to be self-sufficient and value the knowledge that they'd made it on their own, and said, I'm not going to do it for you, blah, blah, blah. Can I be honest? You're a liar. Row your own boat. I don't demonize. What is the point of working hard and having money for your family? So that if you want to live a certain way, if you want to do certain things, then you can do those things. That's why you work, right? You work because you pay bills. You want to have a place to live. You want to be able to eat. You want to be able to afford some things. I get it. I don't look down on people who want to leave money for their kids. I don't think that it negates your ability as a parent to teach kids to be self-sufficient. I feel like that's a very communist narrative, that somehow if you leave your kids any money, or if you give them any money, or if you assist them in any way, that you're not teaching them to do things on their own. What in the hell is the point of working hard if to not make it to where the next generation doesn't have to have it as hard as you do? I grew up poor as all get out. All these people that talk about poverty, I know it sounds probably insufferable how I say it, but I'm like, y'all didn't even know poor. Like, I was poorer than poor. I was like about a statistic. If my mom hadn't worked 3 jobs, I'd be a statistic. So it's like I know how hard it was and how rough it was. I mean, it wasn't just we couldn't afford luxury items. We couldn't afford some basic everyday necessities. And I always wanted to work hard because I never wanted to have to worry about that. So I made sure that I wanted to have that work ethic. And I don't think that wanting to provide for your kids means that you also are somehow compromising an ability to teach them a work ethic or or cultivate that within them. I don't get that, right? It's kind of like what he seems to be seeing. I always feel like people are patting themselves on the back when they say that. And as though they should get like some kind of an award. Okay, well, good for you. Okay, and if you really believe that having your kids grow up more comfortably than you did means that you are somehow unable to cultivate within them a work ethic, that looks like a shortcoming on you, not a statement on class or the economic reality of stuff. I just don't get that. I also like what Steve Harvey said, because Steve Harvey's like, well, if there's money left over, I'm going to spend it on me and your mom. He's like, but if there's money left over, then you can have it. I think that's funny. Like, I also think that parents work for themselves. And if you want to spend your money how you want to spend it, then you don't have an obligation to leave it to the next generation. I think, as a good parent, you want to make sure that your kids are not struggling. But I hate this idea that, oh no, they have to go through it the super hard way because we're too stupid to teach them work ethic. That's just dumb. That's like a new parenting thing. That's a newfound thing. That's not something that's been in the days of yore. That's a new thing. Tocqueville wrote about this when he was writing about the differences between why the American Revolution was so much more successful than the French Revolution. And this was sometime after the French Revolution when he went on this tour of America. And he was writing about how in America, they don't have this mindset of protecting wealth. In fact, economically, we got the death tax and all of this, whereas in Europe, they go above and beyond to make sure that they protect generational wealth in that. But he said still, you'll have families that where it came from nothing and are very successful, and they still make sure that their kids start out with something. But it's different because the work ethic that the parents have, the kids also have to prove themselves if they're going to be capable of taking the family farm over, if they're going to be capable and going into a different business or going for a higher education or going for education at all. They have to prove themselves in some way capable, and that's more expected in the United States Tocqueville was writing than it is in Europe. And it's a culture. It doesn't have anything to do with money that's given to people. I have met people just in my line of work who grew up very wealthy, and they really had very comfortable lives, but their parents expected the world of them, and they had that work ethic driven in them. It's an approach of parenting. So I don't get this. Like, I like Jeff Goldblum, but I just feel like that's a commie talking point sometimes, right? I'm not saying he's a commie, but I feel like that's like a new narrative, and I just like roll my eyes when I hear it.
I think it's natural to want to give your kids stuff, and then you want to resist that because you don't want them to be fully unprepared when they go out into the world. And I think that's kind of what he was trying to say, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there you go.